Hello and welcome to the first episode of Malazan Book of the Fallen chapter breakdowns. Today we're doing episode 1, the Bonehunters, chapter 11. This chapter starts off with this group here, with Cutter, Heberick, Greyfrog, Scalara, and Fellison Younger. As you can see, beautifully drawn here by yours truly. They are on their way to the Otodral Islands to investigate the Jade Giants that Heberick and company discovered in Book 2. Heberick, in this chapter, reflects a lot on his relationship with both Fenner and Treach. And also mortals' relationships to the gods in this world. He thinks that maybe the gods are better off without any mortals believing in them. Obviously, because of what happened with him and Fenner, bringing Fenner into the mortal realm and allowing Treach to take his seat. We also get a bit of talk about Bidithal, whom everyone hates for good reason, and the crippled god, who has actually been really interesting. I know, obviously, main antagonist of the whole series. The last book is called The Crippled God. But we don't know all that much about him. And so, every time that he's brought up on screen, on page, I'm locked in. And they talk about the idea of Bidithal's cult. And Heberick has this to say about it. It belongs to the crippled god, the chained one, a broken creature, betrayed, wounded, imperfect in the way of street beggars, abandoned urchins, the physically and the morally damaged, and the promise of something better, beyond death itself, the very paradise Scalara spoke of, but one we could not deface. In other words, the dream of but one. The dream of a place immune to our natural excesses, to our own depravity, and accordingly to exist within it is to divest oneself of all those excesses, all those depravities. You just have to die first. And I think this is maybe one of the first insights we get into the crippled god's motivation, as far as I can recall. And as I said, any piece of information we can get on that, I'm always locked in for. This conversation was extremely interesting and definitely pushed Heberick up in my esteems, which is tragic considering what happens later in this chapter. But we're going to go on to our next scene with Mappo, Iskaralpust, Mogora, and an unnamed god. I think it's a god, at least. It's probably a god. Iskaralpust and Mogora have done some rituals to attempt to heal Mappo. It's clear that Shadow Throne is working against the Nameless Ones in this, as the Nameless Ones had Mappo replaced as Icarium's companion, and now these two have come to heal him for some reason that we do not know yet. Iskaralpust is funny as ever, thinking on how he would like to go fishing in the new sea of Rariku. And gets into a fist fight with his wife. Can't say I approve, but you gotta do what you gotta do. We go into the mind of Mappo Runt, and he has an interaction with a woman in, what does it describe this as? Like a real spidery place, Yeah. And this woman is upset with Shadow Throne and Mogora for making her heal Mappo, I guess, and with Shadow Throne for assuming that she would want to help Mappo, and doubly so for the fact that he's right. We learn here that the Nameless Ones have kind of made Ikariam more powerful, and it's definitely apparent that they're using him as a tool of sorts. To what ends, I'm not sure, but now that they have that new companion in place, I wouldn't be surprised if we see an escalation there from Ikariam. Let me see if I'm missing anything. Yeah, it is explicitly said that the Nameless Ones, they made Ikariam, and that he was forged by their own hand. So I'm definitely looking forward to learning more about that in the coming chapters. And then Mappo wakes up and notices the two people rolling around in the sand fighting. And Iskarolpust says, "Don't mind us, we're married." I don't know what you're supposed to mean by that, but, it is what it is. That's where we leave this group for this chapter. We move on to these. We get Paran and the Trigale Guild and Hedge running from the beast that they encountered in the last chapter. It's described as being bear-like with red and black ridged scales. And the scales are the size of bucklers. And it is gaining on them. So, as they run, Paran has an idea and seems to throw out a card towards the charging creature, and the card hangs motionless in the air, and as the scaled bear reaches it, it vanishes. I'm definitely thinking that we're going to see that bear again, and that this is maybe some kind of like Pokeball situation here. I wouldn't be surprised if when Paran gets in a pickle next, he maybe throws out that wild card, pun intended. We get to the pillars that are the statues of the Daragoth. Paran learns that two of the hounds that were freed from Dragnapur were killed by Karsa-Orlong. We also see them make it to a building out here, and inside there are two blood sacrifices from old Trigale Guild members, I believe, that were sacrificed by something that worships the Daragoth. Let me see, we established that. Yeah, something is is worshipping the hounds. And so we come to our idea of how to free them, which is what we have to do to have them kill Decim Nabral, I think is his name. And that's that Hedge has Moranth munitions still. As a ghost, you can see there he's still got his bomb, and that he is going to go out and just blow up the statues, freeing the hounds. But before that can happen, Perron has the idea that these hounds are going to try to return to their home realm, and that being the Shadow Realm, where the Hounds of Shadow are. So Perron decides to get on a phone call with Shadow Throne there to let him know to let the hounds free in the 7 cities, so that the hounds can do what Perron has set out for them to do. This conversation with Shadow Throne is very funny. Shadow Throne is not happy about it. I can only imagine all the plans within plans that are being mucked up here. But it does seem that he agrees to the plan and release the Hounds of Shadow to the 7 cities. Now we see that Hedge sets his charges, but he lets them know that there probably won't be enough time for him to get back, and that he's going to stay behind as a sacrifice. Perron is like, okay, but we're going to wait as long as we can, and the explosions go off. As Hedge said, there wasn't enough time for him to get back, and the guild with Perron exit through a warren filled with the forgotten dead, who are imploring the newcomers into this warren to take them, and saying that Hood has forgotten them. When they realize that these people have no intention of bringing them back, they become angry and start trying to kill the shareholders of the Trigel Guild and Perron. And Ganath, the Jag who was with them, brings them to the Jag Warren, the ice one. I don't remember what it's called right now. And they appear on a glacier that looks like what's the word? That becomes an avalanche. And one of the corpses is actually brought with and says, "Thank you. How much do I owe you?" Maybe showing recognition of the Trigel Guild, potentially, or maybe not. But I just thought that was a really funny line in the midst of a very serious event. Then we cut back to Hedge, who apparently was planning on being left behind all along, and he plans to just explore this place and just kind of seeing what's up, because there was nothing in it for the dead who agreed to help. And he says, being fools is what killed us, and we done learned that lesson. So he's going to try and find whatever there is to find here. Then we cut back to the gang we started with, and everything goes to shit. Some Immas appear, killing, I think, Cutter, Heberic, and Skelara, and chopping off Grey Frog's arm and leg. I feel like maybe that this is the Amos who were serving the Nameless Ones, potentially. Don't correct me if I'm wrong. Let me figure it out for myself. But I think that that's about it for this chapter. Let me know if there's anything obvious that I missed. Any other insights are greatly appreciated. And I will get to reading chapter 12 probably tonight. Thanks for watching. Bye.